Hello, lovers. Welcome to a tree topper and menorah lighter of an episode here on Dates and Mates. I celebrate both, so all holiday drama is welcome here. And yeah, the holidays, they are arriving, bringing in all the cozy vibes, the family gatherings, and yeah, those inevitable dating and relationship questions. If you're bracing for Auntie Sally's, why are you still single? Or you're wondering if you should bring your new fling to the holiday party, you're in the right place. Today, I'm here to answer all of your pressing holiday dating questions, from family expectations to finding romance under the mistletoe. So grab your cocoa, get comfy, and let's make sure your holiday season is merry, bright, and drama-free. I'll be answering your top questions today, including, I've been dating a wonderful man for 7 months now and still don't feel a physical connection. Is it time to call it quits? And I got ghosted after 4 months of dating. Is it something I said? Then I'm interested in some of the singles in my triathlon club. Should I shoot my shot? And finally, she made the reservation, but then asked for my credit card to reimburse her the deposit. Is that a petty red flag? Ooh, y'all have been busy with the texts and the DMs and the voice memos, and I can't wait to help you out right now.
Dear Damona. Damona, help me.
Our first question was sent to me in a voice memo from a listener named Annie.
Hi, Damona. I am 40 years old and have never been married. I've had 4 or 5 long-term relationships. I read F the Fairy Tale earlier this year, and I thought it was awesome. It really helped me realize that the problematic dating situation I was in at that time was creating sparks because it was a familiar habit. It also inspired me to go on a date with a guy I had met in my neighborhood. Fast forward to now, and he and I have been dating for 7 months. He is a very good man and probably the best boyfriend I've ever had. There've never been the sparks flying, but I wasn't really concerned up until recently because I feel like after 7 months, I should be feeling something physical, and there is not. I just don't feel any physical attraction. We barely ever even kiss, and I couldn't tell you the last time we did anything more than that. And I'm calling because I don't really know what to do next. I'm not sure if we should try to work on this in some way, or if it's not there by now, it's not going to be, and we should just be friends. And I'd love to hear your advice.
Annie, I love you for trusting me and for sending me this question and for reading F the Fairy Tale. And I never want to prescribe an answer for any caller. So instead, I'm just going to reflect back what you told me. You said that this is the best boyfriend you've ever had. And you also said that you have no attraction to this person, no physical attraction, and that you do not even kiss. So I'm having trouble computing those two things in my mind. And it sounds like you are as well. Because for someone to be the best boyfriend to you, unless you are asexual or aromantic, which there are people out there who identify as such, but it sounds like that's not you because you are craving something more. So if you are someone who wants a fully embodied relationship, your body has to be part of that. And if you're not feeling any attraction to this person, it sounds like they're not the greatest boyfriend you've ever had. They may just be the nicest person you've ever met, or the kindest person you've interacted with, or the most reliable person you have in your life. And those things are wonderful to have in your life, but those things do not a good boyfriend make. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not going to tell you you should end this relationship, but I am going to tell you you're not off the mark for wanting more out of your relationship. And after 7 months, usually those feelings have developed. Even if you haven't actually had sex with one another, usually the feelings of wanting to have sex with somebody or wanting to connect with someone physically and do other stuff, usually that would be there. So let's go back to F the Fairy Tale since you mentioned it. What did I say about the 3-date rule? And all of you people who think the 3-date rule is wait until the third date to have sex, that is not my 3-date rule. And I had my 3-date rule longer than that 3-date rule, okay? So the 3-date rule in F the Fairy Tale is you go on 3 dates if you're still curious about that person and they treat you well and you enjoy time with them. If by the 3rd date, a feeling of chemistry and connection does not start to develop, then this person may be better off as your friend. So Annie, you've kind of blown through that 3 dates like a long time ago. And I think it's so amazing that you allowed yourself to do this differently and to give into the experience of being emotionally open to someone and having a different kind of a relationship than the ones you've had in the past. But we cannot make magic happen. As much as I love to teach you the tricks and tips about flirting and building connection, once you've really given it your all and you've gotten to this point, you have to really ask yourself, wait, what do I want in a relationship? What is the definition of a good boyfriend? And if what you want is marriage, a connection, a physical relationship, from what you described to me, it sounds like you don't have that right now. So if you come to the conclusion, and I am not telling you to break up with your boyfriend, I am not the person to do that. The only reason I will ever tell somebody, you got to end this relationship, is if there is some form of abuse. But I do want you to be happy, and I do want the best for you. And so if what I'm saying resonates, and if you decide that this is not the relationship where you can have it all, and Annie, you can have it all. Everyone listening to this podcast right now deserves to have their physical, emotional, and spiritual needs met in a relationship. I'm not saying one person should be all of those things. I'm just saying you can, it is possible to have those kind of connections with people. So if you want that, and I assume if your partner wants that, the most compassionate thing you can do, if you don't have it now, is to set both of you free. Thank you for your question. I'm sending you both so much love and so much strength because this is a tricky time for all relationships. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. All right. Our next question was sent to me in a DM from an anonymous listener. He says, "Hi, Damona. I'm male 43 from NYC. Did you mean to rhyme like that? That's so cute. I've been in a relationship for the last 4 months with a woman. Things progressed as they should, but I've been ghosted. Help me make it make sense. We had hiccups here and there with communication, but overall, it's been great communication. 2 weeks ago, this issue came up. She has Mondays off, and we usually make plans. Usually. Our communication would be chat on the phone, also text about what our week looks like, then make plans. Her style is to try to cram multiple things into her day, making her late, etc. I, on the other hand, will have my day clear and give her that time. So, on this particular Monday, we're texting and she tells me what she's doing that day, but never says when she's available. The entire day went by and we didn't see each other. So I ask, how come? Her answer was, well, I didn't ask her or make definite plans. It bothered me. And we had conflict over it, but moved past it. It happened again the following week. Now, this is after we've gotten close and we've taken a vacation together, spent multiple nights together, etc. This time, when I address it again, she's getting upset in her tone and cuts me off mid-sentence. Typical, as couples do when they get into conflict. I got upset. I told her, don't cut me off. Give me a chance to complete my sentence. I don't interrupt you. And she says, don't talk to me like I'm people from your job. I don't see how that's relevant because I'm speaking up for myself and speaking on what I see is wrong here. Anyways, we got off the phone 2 days ago and I haven't heard from her since. I've texted and called twice. No response. Clearly there's wrongdoing on both sides, but I can't be wrong in thinking ghosting? You ghosted me after 4 months? Damona, help. Woo, this is a tricky and a sticky one. Y'all are really making me do the work this month in this Dear Damona episode. Okay, I'm going to level with you. you are both right. You are right in being confused and upset that she did not clarify that she intended for you to ask her out for plans. And it would have been a lot easier if she just clearly communicated that that was her intention. Because there's this whole thing you have to understand where women, we have a whole dialogue. There's an entire dialogue that happened in her head that entire day that you just missed out on. There's no way that you could know it, but she like fully built a case against you and you didn't even know that you were going to court. And that happens. That does happen in relationships. However, the second part, and I know you're taking responsibility for this, but I want you to just understand how it sounds when you say something like, don't cut me off, give me a chance to complete my sentence, I don't interrupt you. That to me conveys judgment. That conveys judgment of like, well, I'm doing this better than you are. And so I'm going to finish what I'm saying. And it's kind of like a power grab in the relationship. And I know, look, we get upset. We say things we don't mean. We say things out of anger. We say things when we're in the heat of the moment. But sometimes it's the way that you say it, the tone that you take, that then brings up feelings that cannot be stuffed down. And I am 100% sure. Okay, let me not go all the way there. I'm 98% sure this conversation is ultimately your problem. And it's not just don't talk to me like I'm people from your job. To me, it's saying don't talk to me like I'm less than you. Don't talk to me like my feelings don't matter. And I'm not saying she's right for cutting you off, but I'm just saying, especially in hetero relationships, there's an inherent power dynamic here that you kind of blew through. So it is relevant. And yes, you were speaking up for yourself. Yes, you're trying to convey what you needed to say. But the real way to resolve conflict is not to convey what you're trying to say. It's to listen and find understanding. And so what I'm hearing under that is I don't feel heard in this relationship. And so, both of you are kind of talking to get your point across and no one's doing the listening. And the listening is where the repair is. The listening is where the way forward is. And that brings me to the issue of ghosting, which I have real problems with, y'all, especially after 4 months of you investing in this relationship. I think it is really unfair of her to think that the way out of this conflict is by shutting down and walking away from you and not letting either of you speak. Ghosting is not okay. And I know that doesn't solve your problem, but I feel like you need to hear that ghosting is not okay. And I will validate your feelings on that. But clearly, she felt like she wasn't being heard in that conversation. So what is she doing here to you? She's not letting you be heard. She's ghosting. She's shutting down. She's backing up. She's moving out of the situation. And it can be repaired, but you got to get her back to the table. You got to get her back to the conflict. And you got to let go of a need to be right. Like they say, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? I think you want to be happy. But when we get into conflict, especially like around 4 months, this is sometimes when the first major conflict comes up in a relationship. And this sets the stage for how you're going to deal with future conflicts in the relationship. So are you going to create a safe space for her, which then in turn may allow her to create a safe space for you where you can feel heard and you can feel understood and you can feel like you clearly understand what the expectations of the relationship are, instead of just making the assumption of like, this is how we've done it the last few weeks, so I guess this is how we're going to keep doing it. But to really have those deep listening conversations, that's where the discovery is. And that's where the building blocks of the future relationship lie. So my advice is see if you can get her back to the table. See if you can have a real-time synchronous conversation with her, not over text. And you know she's going to be home on a Monday. So if there's a Monday coming up, I would start there and just say, hey, I really wanted to hear what you had to say. Can we at least talk on the phone, or can I come over? And be really clear. Like, she obviously responds to clarity as well in her planning. And I get that too as an over planner, who is not late, by the way. I'm rarely late and I do stuff my schedule, but it's possible to be both. But as a planner, I understand she responds to certainty, and what she felt like she had was not certain. So if you can reassure her of that and come in from a place of listening, then you can ultimately get what you want as well, which is for you to be listened to and to be heard. It's getting deep today. We have 2 more of your dating questions coming at you, but first, you got to hear this. Thank you for supporting our sponsors and the Dates and Mates community. Now let's get back to your dating questions. This one is a voicemail that was sent in from a listener in her mid-30s called S.
Hi, Damona, longtime listener, first-time caller. I have a 2-part question for you. I'm part of a triathlon club, so kind of like a running club, but with a few more sports. And there are a lot of singles in this club, but no one seems to be asking people out. The only couple that did date a year or so ago in this group, it ended really poorly, and so I don't know if that's making people hesitant. If there are guys in the group I'm interested in, how can I go about breaking the ice on that? How can I let them know I'm interested? Do I just directly ask them to hang out, or do I look elsewhere so as not to cause tension in the club? I'm just really struggling with this and knowing like what the move is there. Part 2, I saw one of the guys from the club on a dating app who I've been kind of curious about. Is this how I shoot my shot, or are there better ideas that you would offer to me? Thanks for any help.
I love this question, and I've been telling y'all it's going down in the running clubs, and I didn't even know there was a triathlon club, but it's going down in the triathlon clubs. And I love that people are looking at new ways to make connection. So first of all, kudos to you for training for a triathlon. That is amazing. And the great thing about doing a physical activity and joining a club like this is that it boosts your endorphins. So not only are you like doing things that are healthy for you and meeting new people, but when you have those feelings of adrenaline and dopamine and all the things that happen when you exercise, you can connect those feelings to the people who you're with. And those are the same neurotransmitters that are released when you fall in love. So it makes sense that you'd be falling in love with the triathlon club and maybe falling in love with a couple people there as well. So first of all, the fact that there was another couple that dated that didn't work out ain't got nothing to do with you. That was that situation. And it didn't end because of the club, I'm going to assume. And okay, maybe it caused a little tension in the club, but like, you're not married to this club. It's not the same as if you were dating in the workplace and you have a contract or that's part of your livelihood. It's a fitness club. Sure. It's a group that you like to be a part of. Sure. But if things really go haywire, the worst thing that'll happen is maybe you find another triathlon club or something else to do with your fitness time. Okay. So to me, the stakes of shooting your shot in this particular situation are pretty low. And the upside, kind of amazing, right? You may end up meeting your person. And I actually do have past clients who have met through sporting activities and clubs like that. So the key is to get the person into another environment that is more conducive to building that kind of connection. So I know how y'all do in these running clubs and triathlon clubs. Well, I know this is in running clubs. I don't know if this is also triathlon clubs, but I know y'all be hitting the streets and then you go out to the bar after. And good for you. You burned all these calories. You have earned it. Okay, not that you have to earn your calories, but however you look at it, it's just fun. It's fun to have that connection after you've done something really hard. So go ahead and ask them, what are you doing after tomorrow's workout or next week's workout? Why don't we get a drink? Why don't we go out for coffee? And if you feel like you can't ask this person for a solo chance to hang out, this is one of very few situations where I'll say a group hang is totally fine. And then you can get solo time with this person. So if that makes it less awkward for you to all go out and then you find something to talk to that person about, go for it. Whatever it is, you got to get talking with this person because you can't really talk to them that much when you're actually doing the workout. It's only weird if you make it weird. And the only place that I kind of have pause is that you said there are multiple people you're interested in. So that's the only place where it can get tricky. If you're not sure which one you're shooting your shot with, and then you're like, hey, everybody, let's all go out for beers after. And then you're sort of playing the field, then that's where it can get awkward within the group. But that might also be where you discover who you're most interested in because you'll have more of a chance to get to know them personally. So that's the move. It's okay for you to initiate. Doesn't matter who initiates, you just got to get them talking and to get some one-on-one time with whoever you're interested in to see. Because you might like them in the run club and then they start talking and you're like, oh, wait, I don't like this person at all like that. So yes, honey, shoot your shot. Now, as far as seeing anyone from the club on a dating app is also neutral territory. So whether it's going out to a bar after or whether it's seeing them on the app after, that is a second outside location where you can connect. And what harm is a little right swipe and see how he responds? Because if you swipe right and he swipes right, suddenly it's a match. And now you can have a conversation. Now, there are people who will just swipe right because they're like, I know you. And then you're like, well, I had to acknowledge I knew you. And now we're matched. And I don't know if this person is interested in me or if I'm interested in this person or if we just matched because we knew each other. So you got to clear all that up in the DMs. But the great thing is that you have multiple ways to shoot your shot and see if it's reciprocated. That is really the key. And this is the thing, if you're going to initiate as a hetero woman, where it's like not customary for a woman to make the first move, you've got to make sure that it's reciprocated right away so you don't get into this phase of chasing. But you're in a triathlon club anyway, so that shouldn't bother you. No, just kidding. I don't want any of you chasing, regardless of your gender or who you date or which sport you play, but I do want you to go for what you want. So I say, just do it. Our last question of the day comes in a text from a feller we'll call B. He says, Dear Damona, I had the best first date I've ever had. She was a fantastic listener, empathetic, asked questions, responded to mine, green flags all around. It was so nice to be impressed. I've never connected so fast with anyone. And it continued on our next few dates. Then I noticed something happening. She kept shooting down my date ideas and suggesting hers, which I was okay with. Then one day, when trying to book a reservation for our next date, she saw on her phone a reservation open up at the time we wanted. And on my phone, I saw the same time disappear. So I asked if she could book it so we could get a time slot. She said that it disappeared for her too, so we didn't book it. Then later in the day, she called me and said she called the place and managed to get a reservation. I thanked her and I conveyed my excitement for the date. Then she asked me, so I booked it with my credit card. Did you want to switch it to yours? This caught me off guard. I thought back and realized that in all the dates we've been on, I've paid for all of them without her offering to pay for or split any of them, which I usually do by default. But when she asked this time, something felt off. She clearly saw I was put off and asked if I was okay, and I replied that I was a little confused. She clarified that a man should pay for the dates in the early stages of dating because that's a man's job. This bugged me. I like balance in any relationship. I'm pretty low maintenance. I don't need nice things or to be given compliments. Really, I just need not to be treated badly. And this made me feel used because she picked all of our dates and now was asking me to pay because I'm the man. That fundamental value difference never left my head. I want a partner who knows I have their back and who has mine. I like flexibility because life isn't binary. Life isn't simple. And I feel like blanket statements or explicitly defined roles based solely on gender are not helpful in a partnership. Am I wrong in thinking we have an opposing concrete value? Ooh, cuffing season is bringing everything to the surface. Okay, First of all, love that you are focusing on values and goals, which you know, if you read F the Fairy Tale, are the two most important pillars of long-term compatibility. So what I see you picking up on is this idea of gender roles, which is not a small thing. I don't think it's so much about the money, the exchange of money, and we talked a few episodes about how finances show up in relationships. But I do think there's something to this idea of these binary roles. And look, I'm a new-fashioned dating coach. I'm with you that I think all relationships should be reciprocal. And really, in some way, all relationships are reciprocal. But I very much believe in sharing finances and sharing in roles in the household, right? So that's just my personal belief, though. And there are a lot of other people out there who will tell you, no, this is something that matters to me based on the way that I grew up, based on the values in my home, based on how I was raised, based on past relationships. No, this is something that means something to me. And I do feel like she's saying that right now. Now, does that mean that that is fixed? That that is how she will always look at things? Not necessarily. But that is the lens through which she's looking right now. So you have a choice to make in how you address this with her. And I do feel like there will be a fundamental difference. If you believe in equity partnerships and she believes that there are certain roles that are for men and there are certain roles that are for women, and both of you are fixed in those perspectives, you will be at an impasse. But if you open up the conversation and you say, just what you said to me, you said, I just really want to feel like I have somebody else's back and they have mine. And when I'm just paying for dates, I don't feel like I'm really being valued for everything that I bring to the table in the relationship. And I'm more than just a credit card, right? And this may be an awakening moment for her. She may say, oh, that's what I want too. I want somebody that's going to have my back. And I have been associating you paying for dates with you having my back. And I'm open to doing this in a different way. Or she might say, it's my way or the highway. You paying for this meal or we out. And we have to be prepared for either of those options. But we do, like, this is not a small thing. We do need to get clarity on this. And I suspect, like, you kind of brushed it under the rug, but I suspect there's also something in the fact that you keep making suggestions for dates. And then she's like, no, my way. No, this is what we're doing. I need to see a little more of a spirit of collaboration from her to see how this partnership will work in the future. And it sounds like you do too. But you said that she's empathetic and she's a fantastic listener. So I have every reason to believe that if you raise the question and you also come from a space of listening, that she'll be able to hear you and hopefully the two of you will be able to find a common ground. It's all about finding common ground. Just remember that as we go through the holidays, because we are going to get triggered in so many ways as we are moving through the holidays and spending time with people that maybe we don't spend a lot of time with during the year. We have all sorts of feelings of nostalgia around what the holidays mean to us, or maybe unresolved feelings of hurt or abandonment or whatever the holidays mean to you. So let yourself feel these feelings. They're going to be out there. But the more that you can also prepare for some of these difficult conversations, even if it's like scripting out, writing out what you're going to say when Auntie Sally comes with her nosy ass questions again, or when you are moving into a more serious level of your relationship and you need someone to share with you openly and honestly and empathetically. It's not easy. These conversations are not easy, but this is the stuff of life. This is what it's all about. So I send you lots of love and strength in this December Dear Damona episode to make it through whatever communication challenges you are facing.